Today, we're going to learn how to motivate and inspire your restaurant staff because, as we both know, they're a bunch of lazy, apathetic, and thoughtless piles of donkey dung. Isn't that right? All right, if you're nodding your head right now, you failed the test because they're not donkey dung. All right, they're awesome sauce, and it's your job to inspire them and create an atmosphere and a community where your employees want to work, where they get excited to work, where they feel important. Let's go. All right, hey, thanks for hanging out. It is Dave Allred, the Real Barman here. If you want tips, tricks, and strategies for running a world-class bar and restaurant, make sure to subscribe so we can be YouTube pen pals. Okay, really quick, if you haven't yet watched my video on how to create an amazing mission statement for your restaurant, you might want to go watch that first as it directly correlates to what we're talking about today. Okay, it's right up here. Okay, and then come back. Or watch this one first and then go there. I don't care. All right, you're a big boy or girl. Do whatever the hell you want. All right, but right now we're starting with number 1 on our list of 5 ways to inspire and motivate your employees. And number 1 is make them feel like they matter, or that what they do matters. All right, what the hell does that even mean? Well, for most people, feeling like what they do matters is more important than money. I know that sounds crazy, but they can find another job that pays similar. All right, and if you make them feel important, that connection will keep them there for a long time, which is significant because research shows that employees who feel like what they do matters are less likely to quit their jobs, which reduces employee turnover, which not only saves you money, but more importantly, saves your sanity. Okay, that means you need to tell them why this job is important. Tell them why it positively affects other people. People who come in to your place, the people who they work with. If they have a big enough why, then they can handle the how or the what without blinking an eye. Okay, that means you need to create a mission that clearly defines who you are as a restaurant and why it should matter to the employees. Again, go watch my previous video on how to create a mission statement because it's going to walk you through the creation process and how to make them feel like they matter. Okay, this is the most important action you can take to motivate your employees to go all out for you. Okay, that brings us to number 2, which is to involve them in the process. Okay, when you ask for their opinions and ideas, it makes them feel like it's our restaurant instead of your restaurant. Okay, you want to create an atmosphere in which you're all working together toward a common goal and the common good to make the place you work at the best it can be. Okay, you want them to take pride in where they work because they're going to become self-motivated at that point. So when you sit down to have like employee meetings, ask them what they think. Okay, for instance, let's say you're meeting with the bartenders. You might say, hey, we're coming out with a new cocktail menu. You guys have any ideas? And then make sure to put some of their ideas on the menu. In fact, maybe every bartender gets to put one cocktail on the menu, approved by you, of course, and then they get to name it. Okay, imagine the pride they're going to feel anytime anyone orders their cocktail. That connects them to the restaurant. That makes them want to remain there forever. Okay, so think about how you can include them in the decisions. Even just hearing them out is valuable, even if you don't implement all of their ideas. Okay, number 3, acknowledge them. Okay, there is nothing more motivating than being acknowledged for the work you do. Okay, when you look at an employee in the eye and you say, hey, thank you so much for covering Sarah's shift at the last minute. You really saved the day. It means a lot. So thank you. When you tell them that sincerely, I'm telling you right now, they will never want to let you down again because you're someone who notices the good that is done, which means you'll probably also notice the bad, and they definitely don't want to be noticed for that. Okay, so with no acknowledgement or feedback to make them feel valued, they're going to slowly start to wilt. Okay, this is what happens with most businesses. They're left unattended, the employees are, they're unnoticed, and they're unloved. But when you water them with acknowledgement, they bloom and they thrive and they give off oxygen for everyone around them to breathe. Okay, that's called a metaphor, you knuckleheads. And it's a good one. Now, if you really want that motivation to run deep, acknowledge them in front of their peers. Man, that makes them feel like the cat's whiskers. Okay, it triples that feeling of value. Just being noticed for doing good deeds. So acknowledge them like during a pre-shift meeting. Okay, and if you don't do pre-shift meetings, start now. They're important. And this is where you have a chance to make them feel special. And it could be for anything. Helping out, like we talked about before, covering Sarah's shift, or maybe they won the wine selling contest you had, or something as simple as, hey, Dan just got engaged. Let's give it up. Okay, a lot of hearts are breaking right now as we speak. Way to go, Dan. Okay, whatever it takes. All right, you get the point. Take the time to make each one feel like they matter. Okay, now that doesn't mean you go around thanking them every 4 minutes. Okay, that's irritating and, desperate. Okay, which are not qualities we look for in a leader. All right, your acknowledgement has to be sincere and it has to be warranted. Okay, you can't just be like, hey, Janet just tied her shoes without getting her fingers caught in the laces this time. Hey, way to go, Janet. All right, use your acknowledgments wisely so they pack a punch. All right, don't just make shit up so you can acknowledge someone. Okay, number 4, lead by example. And yes, I'm fully aware that this is the most overused statement ever uttered in leadership education, but there's a reason it's overused. And the reason is it's important. Okay? People learn by what their leaders and teachers do 99% more than what they say. So you can't just write out an employee manual and hand it to them and be like, there, I'm a leader. All right? Instead, you need to be an active leader, a leader who jumps in the trenches and helps out, the leader who reminds everyone of the mission at all times, the leader who doesn't back down when things need to be said. Okay, don't turn away from confrontation. You need to act as if this place where you work matters more than anything on this planet. Okay, more than your house and more than your friends, more than your dog and your wife and your kids. Okay? Sorry, that probably went too far. Not more than your dog. Let's not get crazy. All right, the point is, imagine working for someone that has energy and actually cares about what they're doing and they care about you. Okay, don't walk around the place like a spaz. Kind of talked about this before. There's a balance to be maintained. All right, people like enthusiasm and energy, but they don't like enthusiasm on crack. Where you're like, hey, how you doing today? Isn't it just like the most wonderful day in the entire history of days of all the universe? Don't you just love cleaning out the floor drains and scooping out dead fruit flies that have been nesting down there? Oh, golly, life's good. Yeah, that guy sucks. All right, don't be that guy or gal. All right? Now that reminds me, did you ever see that Friends episode with Alec Baldwin?
It's like I want to take a mental picture of you all. Click.
I don't think the flash went off.
There. That was our intermission. All right, but you get the point. Leading by example means that you need to be the disco ball in the room at all times, the center of the party. And you can do it demurely and calmly, but the leader who lives the vision you are preaching so that they can all follow in your footsteps. Okay? Which brings us to the finale, number 5, hold them accountable for their actions. And yep, I can see your brain working. You're like, I like the idea of holding them accountable, but how does that motivate and inspire them? Here's how. When you're the type of leader who sets the rules and boundaries and then holds your team accountable for those rules, you are someone your team trusts and respects and follows. Okay, it makes them feel safe that someone is in charge and knows what they're doing and they aren't letting people get away with shit. Okay, when you make the rules or you create a mission statement identifying who you are as a company and what you do, but you don't hold anyone accountable to the mission, they view you as weak and they start to believe that where they work is a joke, which deflates their pride in where they work, which in turn makes it feel like what they do does not matter. Okay, you see how the pieces just kind of Tetris together perfectly? Okay, at any rate, this means you need to be capable of confrontation. Not like angry confrontation, where you're all pissed off all the time. Don't go around screaming at people. But when an employee blatantly ignores your rules or isn't doing their job, like they're showing up late, you need to nip it in the bud and confront them about it. Okay, and that might be hard for you, but the more you do it, the easier it will become, and the better you'll feel about yourself. Okay, in addition, if someone appears to be unmotivated and they simply aren't hustling or doing a very good job, you need to sit them down and tell them to their face, hey, right now, I don't see you putting out the effort we need in order to be a world-class restaurant. However, I believe you're capable of being a standout server, bartender, busser, or cook, whatever. Here are the strengths I see in you. And then list off 3 or 4 strengths. And if you're like, my staff doesn't have any strengths, Dave, they're a bunch of morons. Well, 1, that's just plain cruel. But 2, if that's true, then those individuals probably shouldn't be working there. I mean, if you truly believe an employee has no strengths, then why did you hire them in the first place? That sort of makes you the moron, doesn't it? All right, I'm just saying, dog. I'm just saying that hearing from their boss that they're capable of being a standout anything will make them feel good about themselves and motivate them to try harder because they don't want to let you down. Okay, but in order to motivate them to rise up after listing their strengths, you need to follow up with that said, those are your strengths I see, but I know you have the capability to perform at a lot higher level than you are now. You let them know that you see the value in them, but that it's not enough in order to work at this amazing place of yours. That's called accountability. All right, and it goes a long way. Okay, this all goes back to the mission statement and your culture. I mean, why would any employee listen to you when it comes to working harder or performing at a higher level? And the answer is, are you ready? Well, if you saw my video on building a mission statement, you'd know now, wouldn't you? So go watch it. Gotcha. Okay, some people call that clickbait. I call it building suspense and anticipation. Okay, now before we go, you're probably sitting there like, you missed one, Dave. What about money? You didn't even mention the bling bling. People are motivated by money, and don't try to tell me different. All right, this is true. Money is a big motivator, and it should be one of your biggest areas to focus on, okay, to make sure that your employees are well paid. But the way to succeed in helping your employees make more money is an indirect strategy. It's not paying them more per hour out of your own pocket. It's making sure your place is so amazing that it's packed all the time, because our industry works off tips. And the more sales the restaurant makes, the more money the staff makes. So your job to motivate the staff money-wise is to become an expert at marketing and getting butts in the seats. Okay, that's just going to make more money for everyone. And I have more videos on that as well. In addition, you need to understand that motivation is not one size fits all. Different people are motivated by different things. We call this intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Okay, intrinsic motivation comes from within. All right, these people are driven by personal satisfaction and enjoyment in their jobs. They're driven by a desire to achieve goals and be great at what they do. These are the best people. Okay, these people actually care about what they're doing in their life. Extrinsic motivation is the type of motivation that comes from external factors such as rewards, recognition, or money. Okay, so if you're really good at your job as a leader, you'll be able to identify which of these is more inherent in each of your employees so you can motivate them properly. But in general, most people are made up of like a combination of the two, right? They're usually not just all of one. It's just identifying the percentage or portion that makes up each part of the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So I hope that all makes sense. Didn't confuse you too much. I know it seems like a lot of work, but it's really not. It's just about putting all the pieces into place. Okay, I'm sure it all made sense. I'm sure you're smart as a Yankee Doodle dandy. At any rate, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you learned something, but more importantly, I hope you do something with what you learn and make your life amazing. And I hope you make millions and millions of dollars. Okay, I want to thank you for being here. I am going to see you next time. I'm out.